I've really noticed my energy shifting and lifting since I started placing a lot more focus on creating the world that I do want rather than fighting against the one that I don't. And I thought it might be helpful in this video just to share a bit of insight onto some key things which I feel really make the difference. They certainly make the difference in my life. And I get that these solutions will probably not resonate with many of you who are maybe looking for a fight type solution, because we can't fight the world right, okay? And it seems to me there's no stopping this bulldozer which is coming through. They have a plan, they've pushed the button on it, and it's going to be relentlessly implemented. So we have to transcend the overwhelming desire to fight what's going on, and instead to focus all of our energy on creating what we do want. So the number one thing, which is, I feel, of the absolute most crucial importance, is stillness, prayer, meditation, coming back out into nature. And of course, the classic response to that is, you're not going to get anywhere just sitting, meditating and doing nothing. But of course, the beauty of stillness and slowing down and practicing coming back to 0 point, calming the nervous system, it's like practicing a muscle. So what happens is, when you get used to being in that place of calm, in your center, fully connected, in the heart space, in tune, at peace, then it becomes really easy from that place to detect when you've been pulled out of that center. Now, we all have unresolved trauma, and we all get triggered. And there are 3 kind of go-to default places when we are triggered by external things, people, incidents, content, videos, whatever life throws at us. So the first is to go into anger and fight. And certainly that has been my default, because I had a childhood with 4 quite bullying brothers, and I learned that I had to fight. You know, that was my set point. So that still is my go-to. If I have an external attack, I will immediately go into counter-attack. That is my set go-to trauma response. That is, if I don't create that space to be able to go, whoa, hold on, what's happening here? I can feel that energy coming in. I can feel myself being pulled into fight, and just creating that space. And it's only a second or 2 to pull back from the response and choose a different way of responding. And that's where the word responsibility comes from. The second go-to place is fear and flight, to run away, to get rid of, to get away from. It is important, if you are constantly triggered by something that's terrifying, it is important to get yourself to a safe space. And certainly it's really important from a trauma healing perspective to get yourself to a safe space where your nervous system can regulate and come back into that center space. Otherwise you live on a constant predator alert and you're constantly being triggered. And the third response is the freeze response, and that's all about dissociation. It's a form of flight, but it's about just switching off and disconnecting with the reality. The most common form of that is not wanting to deal with what has come up and just detaching from it. And the freeze response comes from our childhood, where we couldn't fight, we couldn't flight, and so in the face of overwhelming external power over controlling force, all we could do was just switch off and detach and numb ourselves, and in that way just lessen the pain of what was about to happen. And if you read the accounts of anyone who's gone through any horrific trauma, maybe some kind of horrific attack or rape or something like that, they say it was like I left my body and I was just a numb witness to what happened, but I didn't actually feel anything. Peter Levine, who's an expert on trauma, does a lot of videos around animals in nature. So if a gazelle is being chased by a lion across the plains and gets felled by the lion, it will go into a freeze response as if it's already dead. And sometimes the lion, if it's just interested in the chase alone, will actually give up the playing and leave the animal alone, and the animal is just left for dead. And then after a few minutes, it will get up and it will shake out its trauma. So those are the three default responses. And so the more that we can be in that place of stillness and regulating our nervous system, the more we can practice being in that center place and experiencing what it feels like to be in that place of peace and calm and harmony and regulation, where there's no threat and we're not tensed. The more we notice when we're pulled out of that center, and we can create that few seconds of stillness to prevent us from just responding in the reptilian response to everything, because we are being massively triggered at the moment, people, and it is all part of the game to create dissonance, to create triggers, to move us into fight flight, so that we lose our power, because all of our power is when we are in our center, in our heart. Practice being in that calm center space every day, just sitting quietly at your altar, going out into nature, sitting by the river, just sitting in a chair, relaxing, just doing nothing, because this society has encouraged us, it's all about busyness. Busy, got to be busy. It's too lazy, it's lazy to do nothing. That's a really deep program. So to uninstall and to absolutely treasure doing nothing is extremely valuable. The second huge thing that you can do is to resource yourself. And that is to make sure you're fully hydrated, eating nourishing food, your body's fit and well. You might do things like yoga, you might do exercise and running, walks in the country, swimming, making sure that you are really well resourced. And that may also be singing, dancing, having long, hot Himalayan salt baths, listening to music, whatever brings you joy and a feeling of well-being. So being really well resourced. The third thing that I'm really encouraging everyone to do, and I'm also doing myself, and that is to create local community of like-minded people who feel the same way, because there's so many people who are fully in the program, fully watching all the media, fully believing everything that comes out of the government. They may be friends, they may be family, who are completely polarized to us in their views, to the point where they may even be attempting to belittle us and attack us for our beliefs. So it really helps to have, even if it's just a tiny group, a small handful of people local to you. It's great to have online friends. It really helps calm the nervous system and to create that sense of earthed safety and grounding, to know that we have a resource in people locally who we can call on, who we can turn to. And over time, what is already happening is these little freedom cells, these little local support communities and groups are all joining and gathering together and creating a network. And my strong feeling is that out of all this, we are going to create an alternative economy. And we're going to create a network, a grassroots network of people who are questioning the government, the system, but are, instead of focusing energy on fighting the system and what's being bulldozed through, we are focusing all of our energy on visioning and creating the life we do want. And that starts with creating communities. And over time, businesses coming together, businesses which are deciding they don't want to be part of the government mandates, that they don't want to insist that people have to wear masks or have vaccine passports or any of that other nonsense if you want to do business with them. If we can create those kind of networks where this alternative economy, this alternative community, conscious community, whatever you want to call it, where that grows to an extent where all over the world, all of those people who do not agree with what is going on, I would suspect it's at least 25% of the people, if not 40% of the people. I mean, you would be amazed about how many people who are wearing masks are just doing it to be compliant, but they don't want to. They don't want to have to do it. This critical mass of people who are saying no, I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? Just look how much propaganda and pressure is being pumped out to try and force everyone to get these vaccinations. It's really obvious from where I'm standing, and I shouldn't, by the way, call them vaccinations, but I'm not going to go into that because I don't want to get into the medical misinformation area. But there's a lot of people who are saying, no thanks, keep it. Don't want it. No thanks. No, sorry, no, not having it. Without those mass injections, the whole plan fails, right? So there is hope, there is light, and we are strong when we are in our center, when we gather together, when we support one another, and when we know that our basic security and survival needs are sorted and taken care of. And with that thought, I'm just going to gather a little bit of kindling from the forest to help me light my fires. Sending you lots of love. Bye for now.